Like, what are we doing?
Corey Graves, the ignorant slut. Cannot pronounce the word coup de grace. He says coup de grace.
Welcome to This Is a Takeover. My name is Shelby Ray Patterson.
And I'm Gina Bradford.
And we are here to review NXT Deadline. But first, how are you doing, Mrs. Bradford?
I'm great. How are you? Now that I have no planning to do.
Oh my gosh. How are you just like over the moon right now?
Yes. I'm excited to have, like, I made so many decisions before with the wedding planning and all that. Now it's like I'm being told what to do because I'm in rehearsals and I love it.
Oh,
and it's like,
yeah.
oh, my day is dictated by this schedule and it's amazing.
You know, I hadn't even thought about that, but that totally makes sense.
Great.
I love it. I love it so much.
And how are you, Miss Patterson?
You know, I'm doing good.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's so funny because now my news is out in the public.
Yes.
And I can like officially like say it on air now.
Say it.
Listeners, I am pregnant.
Yay!
Oh, yeah.
Baby P.
Yes, baby P will be here in June of next year.
So exciting.
It's so surreal because we had your wedding and then I found out during the same time.
Like right in the middle.
A month or so before.
Yep.
So it's just been kind of a whirlwind, and now everybody knows. Yay. And I'm excited. I'm excited to get to talk about it now.
Baby.
I know. It's exciting. We're very excited. And again, it's just kind of one of those surreal moments that we've been wanting, to happen for a while, and now it's happening.
It's happening.
It's fun. And you know this baby is going to be baby wrestling.
Baby wrestling.
Because I think I now have gotten my husband into this sport just as much as I'm into it. Because friends, I don't know if you listened to the latest episode of This Is a Work.
He did lovely.
He did, but he was super, I was listening to it, I was like, oh my God. Have I really rubbed off on him? This is insane. Where did all this analysis come from?
That's so funny.
I was super proud. I was very impressed.
Yay.
So he was very happy, and he's really itching to come back on the show. So I don't know what their schedule's like, but he would love to come back.
Aww.
But yeah, so lots of things happening.
Big things happening.
Yes. But honestly, we do have a lot to talk about with this show.
But can we mention how much fun this show was?
Dude, this show, this is a little bit of a spoiler alert. This was my highest rated show of the entire year.
It was incredible.
Yes, Kara.
Yes.
That's the face.
Highest of the year.
Also, Kara's on the ones and twos today.
Yes.
She's our producer.
Kara.
She's our producer.
Hello, everyone.
It's perfect.
Hello.
So you won't hear David's pipe-ins, but you'll hear Kara's
No
today.
inappropriate jokes.
I wouldn't count on that. But honestly, it was so good, and it reminded me of how takeovers used to be.
Yes.
How every single match was almost a 5-star match. It was insane.
Bare minimum was 4.5.
I didn't give anything under a 4.
Yeah.
I didn't.
I didn't either.
Yeah, it
Not
was
a single thing.
I mean, so this one had a really interesting stipulation, two stipulation matches.
Yes.
We had the introduction of what's called the Iron Survivor match, which I kind of coined it as if War Games and Iron Woman matches had a baby.
Exactly.
Because the rules were very similar to War Games, but it was an Iron Man match.
It's just, it's my favorite match of all WWE now.
Yeah, I think so too.
It has become my favorite thing. And we'll talk more in detail about it as the match goes on, but just the way that they set it up on the screen was so easy to follow. Everything made sense. Mm-hmm. They really took the time to think everything through. It just flowed beautifully.
Yeah.
This is above Elimination Chamber for me and everything else. Yeah.
Whoa.
This is my favorite style of match.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, War Games for me was my favorite.
Yeah.
And now I think this is because I love Iron Man matches.
Oh, yeah.
And I love War Games. So
why
I
not
feel
combine them?
Yeah, exactly. This is such a great idea. So let's just let's just get into it.
We're gonna dive in.
We are. So our first match, because also there were only 5 matches on this
That's
card.
all it was, but every single one was so perfect.
Yeah. 5 matches on this card.
Kara's face.
I mean, it was maybe 2 hours.
It was beautiful.
I'm telling
Perfectly
you,
timed.
I'm telling you, takeovers are the shit because they are maybe 2.5 at most, and at the most they'll have 6 matches on them.
And that's how it should be.
Thank you.
Honestly.
Like, you don't need 15 matches on a show. You just don't.
You don't.
Like,
You hear that, AEW?
seriously, you trim the fat and you just like put in like the best lean cut of everything that you have. Like, that's just how it should be. But our first match is the women's Iron Survivor match. And I just kind of want to explain the rules a little bit. Because, Kara, have you ever heard of this before? Okay. So I think this is brand new.
It is.
Like, they literally just introduced it on this pay-per-view.
Shawn Michaels came up with this idea. Yeah, and Kara's face lit up immediately. So Shawn Michaels came up with this match idea.
Yeah.
So you're going to love it.
So it's perfection from the start. So you have 2 people that start in the ring, and they go at it for 5 minutes. And then after that first initial 5 minutes, then the next person comes in from the back. And they do that until everybody is in the ring. But the goal is whoever gets the most pinfalls or submissions wins the match.
So as soon as those first 2 start, they could pin immediately and get a point. They don't have to wait for everyone to come in. Mm-hmm. They just start immediately.
So, like, you know, with War Games, I know, it's awesome. With War Games, you have to wait until everybody from both teams are in the cage before you can start having pinfalls.
And
No. You can have
Nay.
a pinfall right away, and you can have an advantage before anybody else comes in. Like, and every time
It's so good.
someone gets a pinfall or submission, the person who was pinned or submitted has to go sit in a penalty box for 90 seconds. I know.
Kara's so excited.
I love this idea. It's like combining hockey and wrestling, and I don't even know what all else.
Oh, there were some hockey fights that happened with this penalty box with the men's match. Oh my God, we'll get into it, but it was so great.
good.
So we have the women's matches first, which has kind of been the way that they've done these things. So we have Roxanne Perez versus Zoe Stark versus, okay, did we ever look up this bitch's last name?
No, Kiana.
Dang it.
Hang on, I got it.
So sorry. Kiana something is her name. She wasn't very important, obviously. And then you had Indy Hartwell.
Kiana James.
Kiana James. Okay, perfect. Kiana James, Indy Hartwell, and Cora Jade. So, I mean, I didn't write anything down for this just because, like in a normal stipulation match, there's so much going on that you just have to watch it. Like, it's just one of those that there were definitely some high spots in there.
Yes. Beautiful, beautiful moments.
Yeah, and I felt like this type of match leads to you being able to tell a lot more story in the ring than War Games. Because 1, there's no cage. 2, there's only one ring.
Yes.
And 3, it really makes it so there's a lot of give and take with this 90-second penalty box rule, right? Because when someone is pinned or submitted, they have to go into the penalty box, and it literally, there's a camera in the penalty box, and it just cuts to them, and they're just like itching to like get out because...
Or they're recovering from whoever beat the tar out of them.
That's also true.
Great storytelling throughout the entire match.
A lot can happen in that 90 seconds, and a lot did happen. And there were
so
moments where there were
much.
multiple people in the penalty box at one time.
And then they start wailing on each other because they're all in the penalty box just waiting to go, and they're angry, and they want to go and beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah, so they'll like beat on each other, so that way someone is incapacitated by the time it's time for them to get out.
And then they can take advantage.
I mean, it's brilliant.
It's
like,
so
there's
good.
so many different ways you can get fucked up in this match. But it tells the story like so beautifully. Like,
Yes.
I really can't rave enough about this. You really have to go watch it, Kara.
Seriously.
Like, it is
We'll have girls'
so
night
good.
while I watch it. It'll
It's
be
so
great.
good. So the end of this, we have Roxanne Perez, who wins the match, which she's been a fan favorite for a while.
She came out like a bullet. She truly, when she arrived, she just like took off like a rocket ship.
She was her and Zoe were the two that
Yes.
started this match. And the match
Yes.
goes 25 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you have, the two who start out, they go for 5. Then the next one comes in, they go for 5 more. Then the fourth one comes in, 5 more. Fifth one comes in, 5 more.
Yes.
Right? And then you have an additional 5 on the end.
It's just amazing.
It's crazy. Like, it's so good. But there was a lot back and forth with Cora and Roxanne because they had that whole thing where they were friends and tag team partners and they turned on each other. So then there was a lot of story there. There was a lot of story with Zoe.
Yes.
Which I was very interested. Neither Iron Survivor match had any interference from the outside.
And I was extremely grateful for that because
It didn't need it.
It would be detrimental if you introduced something that was brand new and then introduced it with people interfering, because that would mean you didn't have enough. What's the word I'm thinking of? You didn't have enough confidence in your own new idea.
Yeah.
And
No, I agree because I was very curious because Zoe Stark and Nikita Lyons kind of had a feud going into this match.
Yes.
And I thought it was just really interesting to choose to not have Nikita do chicanery because Zoe cost her entry into this Iron Woman match because she had a qualifying match and Zoe messed that up.
That's right.
So I thought it was really interesting that she did nothing. But I think it was smart to do that because I agree with you. I think it would have taken away from like the newness and the power that it actually had, like the match actually had.
And the best thing now for their story is that they, she can come in and be like, you took this opportunity away from me that now has blown up. That is so amazing. I'm so mad. I'm going to beat the shit out of you.
And I had to sit in the back
and I had to watch.
Yes. Exactly.
Yes. I will say, like, out of this whole match, though, Kiana was the weakest link.
Oh, it was
Kiana was
bad.
rough, dude. I even wrote, because I was like, I don't know her. I don't know her backstory, but the only thing I did know was she definitely was a dancer or gymnastics kind of girl because some of the moves she did were so choreographed and so you can definitely tell, like, if she had landed on her like feet after a punch, I almost thought her arms were gonna go up. Like, there were moments where I looked at that and I was like, "Holy, what?"
It was very telegraphed. So like a lot of her stuff was very telegraphed, and poor girl got no falls.
None.
At all.
And not a single one.
Every single person got at least 2, and she got none. So it was very evident that, like, I don't know if she was just kind of like a last minute, like they had to have somebody and everybody else was like,
okay, but then
tied
they
up in
could have
different
thrown in
things.
Nikita.
Oh, I agree. 100%. I don't know
Yeah.
why. I don't know why she was in this.
I don't
really
remember.
don't.
Yeah, it was.
But
I wonder if that was like her show.
tryout?
And, woof.
Yeah.
If she didn't make it, then
But-
that's my opinion.
So with Roxanne going over on this, the winner of this match gets to be the number 1 contender
For the title.
So that means that Roxanne was now the number 1 contender for the women's title, which was held by Mandy Rose. So then, fast forward.
We're gonna do
I'm
the
gonna
thing.
get into it.
It's great.
So
We address the elephant in the room now.
fast forward to Tuesday night on NXT. Roxanne is, because New Year's Evil is coming up as at this recording. New Year's Evil, I think, is January 10th,
Yes, that is correct.
and it's kind of
'Cause I was surprised by that.
implied. Yeah, it's kind of implied that the winners of the Iron Survivor were going to challenge at New Year's Evil. Like that was going to be the thing.
It was just hinted.
Right, it wasn't like announced or anything,
Yeah,
but it was
no,
just
it
kind
was
of
just,
hinted. And then all of a sudden, Mandy attacks Roxanne during her like celebration speech on NXT at the top of the show. Then all of a sudden, Roxanne's like, "I'm not waiting until New Year's Evil. I want you tonight." So they have a NXT Women's Championship match that night as the main event on a random NXT on a random Tuesday after the pay-per-view. So I'm like, oh man, like, are they really like gonna just like throw away Roxanne's shot? Because I was fully in the
all
camp of like,
ecstatic.
damn, like she's gonna lose. Like I've been a very staunch critic of Mandy Rose.
Very.
Being, since
Both of us.
Having this show's inception, I think even before she was on NXT, I was not a fan of Mandy Rose at all. And I'm still not a huge fan of Mandy Rose. I can acknowledge that she has gotten over and she has gotten better as she was in NXT. I can say that.
Okay.
I still don't like her.
Yeah.
I still don't like what she represents for the women's division. And I think she held the title for way too long. And they had multiple opportunities to take the title off of her and give it to someone else to at least have a run with it. And they didn't do it. And I think, to me, that made the title lose some luster for me. So when they announced that they were having this title match on a random NXT,
It's like up,
I was
squash.
like, oh, man, I was really disappointed. So my pregnant ass falls asleep.
No.
Right? Because I'm thinking,
No.
I know what's going to happen, right?
No.
I wake up
And the
I
world
check Instagram.
exploded.
Instagram exploded. Roxanne wins the title on a random NXT Tuesday
Hell
after the
yeah.
pay-per-view. And I was shocked. I was like, this is great. This is insane. Like, this is what you need to do to drive ratings, right? Like, this is, people see this and they're like, oh my God, like a title, a huge
wait,
title.
shit, I missed this?
Right.
Like, dang.
Exactly. Then I find out the next day,
And then.
Mandy Rose has been fired from WWE for breach of contract.
Wait, what?
And I'm like,
Huh?
okay, what kind of breach of contract are we talking about? And then
Because Triple H had just released all of those, because everyone's doing other things online with, other,
he's been kind of lax about
promoters. Yeah. Like, ever
Which is
since
great.
Vince is gone, it's like, oh, yeah, it's fine. Because, that's why we have a party now on
Exactly.
YouTube. Like, there's almost so many other things now. We're very grateful. Thank you. Don't take them
Yes,
away.
thank you, Hunter, for
Don't take them away,
Thank you,
please.
Hunter, for giving us the party back. I really appreciate
needed
it.
the Uno.
We needed the Uno back in our lives. But apparently what had happened was Mandy Rose has what's called a fan time account. It's not OnlyFans, but it is something different. It's very similar to OnlyFans.
Yeah.
But it's called fan time. And apparently what she was doing on there goes against the code of conduct that was in her WWE contract.
Yeah.
And all I know is that how it was worded was it was way, way, way over the line.
Whoa.
Yes. So
It's like Cameo. From what I can tell, it's like Cameo, but sexy.
people pay
Yeah, so you pay
Yeah.
for video recordings or
pictures.
or
Yeah.
whatever. And
I think they were more explicit than she let on.
of course,
Because when I think now again, this is
from
more will come out
many
as
sources.
time goes on because this is still breaking news.
of course.
So I'm sure more details will come out after this recording goes live. But what I am under the assumption is she did not let on exactly what she was doing on this page and in this account. So they thought it was one thing. It turns out it was a whole different thing, and they were okay with the first thing but not okay with that thing. So I think people are very up in arms about it, and I can understand why. Because you have sort of this double standard going on with the men and the women in WWE. Basically, it kind of sometimes it sends the message that like, okay, DUIs are okay, but for men, but not,
full, Riddle's whole thing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that whole thing.
yeah, like that's okay.
That's fine.
But if
It's guys, they can do it. The guys will be guys.
But at the same time, I'm kind of the camp of like, if it is true that she was not upfront
And was
about the
hiding
content
it.
that she was putting out
Yeah.
there, and it does go against the code of conduct, I mean, they kind of are within their right to let her go.
I will go ahead and say, though, someone is a narc.
Oh, 100%.
Someone is a narc.
So basically, what I heard was Shawn Michaels found out about it.
Sean, what were you doing on that website?
No. It was brought to his attention. That man is a born again Christian. Okay, like he doesn't go to sites like that.
That's why I said it with such implication. Sean.
But it was brought to his attention from another employee.
Oh, no, but Papa Sean.
Yes.
How do you have that conversation?
That this was happening, and he said, we have to get the title off of her immediately. So apparently it was enough, because they still are PG. You know what I mean? We're in the PG era. Like, you can't have someone who's doing things like that on the side and have them be a title holder. And especially if they are, supposed to be a role model for younger kids. And so I understand. I do think it's messed up, because I don't ever want anyone to lose their job, especially right before the holidays.
That's really what it is. It's like, okay, like, it, just hold on, and then like be like, okay, bye, like after New Year's.
It's not like she's going to hurt for money.
I was just about to say this. I think the main reason why this whole thing happened was because she was not willing to let it go.
She was making more money there.
She was making more money selling pictures of herself and videos of herself than on her WWE contract.
Which, guys, can we assess society here?
Apparently,
can we have a
we're
moment?
all doing something incorrect. Like,
okay, but it's like, one, I want to know who these people are online. What do you do for a living?
I don't want to know. I don't want to know those people who are paying that much money. I really don't. I don't think you do either.
I mean, I don't want to know them personally. I want a list of
I know.
just like the jobs of what everyone does. I don't need to know their names. I just want a list of like what the random jobs are to know like,
If
okay,
you
this
knew,
is what I need.
It would gross you out.
Yeah,
It's the whole gambit, girl. The whole gambit.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's 2022. Like, make your money how you make it.
Yeah.
Not going to yuck anybody's yum. But I think at the end of the day,
Taxes are a bitch, though.
it's a...
Sorry.
God, your ADD brain is so brilliant. I love it.
But it would suck ass to write all those taxes.
Oh, God. Yeah, you got to have somebody for that, right? Like,
I mean, without money.
I'm sure the website does a 1099 or a W-4 or whatever those things are called.
1099 miscellaneous.
no, I never want to do that ever again.
No, we're in good spots, Shelby. We don't need those anymore.
We don't need those anymore. Anyway, I gave this match a 4.
It was a great 4.
I had to bring it up. There was no way that I couldn't bring it up.
And I like that we're making this a segment now where we're starting with, and I actually prefer now that we're recording later after the pay-per-view that it's not like immediately, so that when this happens, we can discuss it, we can talk about it, we can bring it up.
Well, lately, stuff has been happening.
A whole shit ton of stuff
we
has
just
been
gotta talk about it. But yeah, I gave this match a 4. It
strong
was
4.
Very fun.
Like, I teeter on the edge of 4.5, but I only put 4 just because I was excited to see what the rest of the pay-per-view was going to be.
Yeah, because that's how we started.
That's
the show.
That's just the start.
Yeah.
And then.
Oh man, this next match.
Shelby's so excited about this next match.
This was my favorite. This was my match of the night. It was so good. So we had Isla Dawn versus Alba Fire, and these women. Oh my God.
So I
just want to gush about these two women.
The whole time I kept staring at her, and I was typing my notes on my phone. I kept trying to write Alba's other name, which was
Kaylee
her.
Ray.
I couldn't. I kept trying every time to write Kaylee Ray, and I was just like.
So Kaylee Ray and Isla were on NXT UK.
Amazing.
So they have. This is not the first time that they've wrestled each other, and not had a program before. But this is the first time that both of their characters have been on point. Like, Isla Dawn has been Isla Dawn, but not this version.
No.
Like, so I wrote down, Isla Dawn is what I feel like you, Gina, want Scarlett to be. Yes.
That's exactly what she is.
Yes.
So why didn't I think of that?
She is very witchy.
She got a Ouija
very
board.
mysterious. Oh man.
Oh, and then she's got like the weird like drops from her eyes, and then look her up.
Look her up. It's great.
Google.
And I mean, Alba Fire is So good. I was so pissed when they changed her name. I was like, what's wrong with
so
Kaylee Ray?
dumb.
Like, Kaylee Ray was such a good name, but she has really embraced.
But the fire.
So really, like, fire just follows her.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
And just, you had, like, they both had dark characters, but one was, like, just a little bit lighter than the other. You know?
Yes, the spectrum of dark
Yes.
was so perfect.
It had
Because
layers to it. It
Yeah.
wasn't just like, ooh, I'm spooky, I'm dark.
also, I think one of my favorite things about Alba Fire's entrance is that instead of it being like a cane where the fire comes up, she walks in and the fire goes out.
Yeah.
That's sick, dude.
Yeah.
That's sick.
So there's-
like I was sitting there
there's-
going, "Whoa, the metaphor! Oh,
There's fire
theology-
all
oh.
around, and then she comes out, and the fire just ceases.
It's just done, and then it's
so
just
good.
smoke.
yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
I'm telling you, NXT entrances, they're back, baby. Like they're back. I'm so happy.
Seal claps.
Like they're back. They mean something again. Like
Oh, what a concept.
I love when an entrance plays into the story that they're trying to tell in the match. And I looked it up on Wikipedia before we got here. This match was only 10 minutes long.
That's all it needed.
But I could have watched them for the rest of the night.
It was so
It's insane.
The thing with this was that one, their character development spot on.
Mm-hmm.
But something that was just as important to me because I didn't know Isla Dawn was the heat start. Like what started
Yeah.
this whole match. Like, you know, like you look back on some of the stuff and you're like, cool. But like she messed up Alba Fire's opportunity.
Yeah,
Like she
yeah.
destroyed it. So of course, obviously, like from there on the story writes itself. And then that's what just perpetuated the rest of this match.
Yeah.
Like
What-
they just wanted to destroy each other.
And it was so refreshing because you don't see that a lot in women's matches.
no.
You really don't. You see that all the time in men's matches, right? But like,
Oh, you mess with me, bro. I'm gonna mess with you back.
right, but like there wasn't a title on the line.
No.
It was literally just the definition of a grudge match. And it was because Isla Dawn cost Alba Fire the title against Mandy Rose, which that was who everybody thought Mandy was going to drop to.
Yep.
It made sense, right? Like she's a badass, like Mandy just wouldn't be able to handle it anymore, and it
Yeah.
would just be, you know, a perfect person to put it on there. And then all of a sudden you have Isla come in and she destroys that chance, and everyone is pissed. And they're like, who is this chick? Like no one.
No, because she just suddenly appeared on the top of a ladder
She did.
and was like, "Oh hi!" Bam.
Yeah, and just like sent her through a table. Like it was insane. But then it leads to this match, and nobody cared anymore.
No.
Like everybody was just like, this is insane. Hello, sir.
Your dick is tiny. I'm so sorry for that.
Wow.
Your dick is tiny. I'm so sorry for that, but I'm not at all.
I am so sorry, listeners. Like that was
Wow.
there was a huge truck that went by, and that's
compensation.
And he like stopped outside the house on the and like had to stop his car and rev it and go so that he could make all the noise he could.
oh god. Anyway, apologies for that.
Tiny dick.
So
Minuscule.
just the psychology in this match was just
It was breathtaking.
so great. And again, only 10 minutes. So it just shows that you don't need a lengthy match to tell a
No.
really good story. And I mean, the way that Isla wins this match was so interesting. So
Oh, it was
what she did, so she incorporates the black mist.
which also one of my other favorite things on the planet.
Yes. And she
Anytime
sprayed
mist is
it
used.
into she meant to spray it into
Or did she?
Alba's. Yeah, I know. That's the thing, right? she meant to spray it in Alba's face, but Alba moved and it went into a ref's face. This was before the match, right? So this was like a week or so before, leading up to this. Then, for some reason, that same ref is reffing the match on the pay-per-view, and they even bring it up in commentary how
bless
like,
you, sweetheart.
wow, that's that's really bold of this ref. Like, this is the same ref that, Isla Dawn spit black mist in his face. Like, what a brave man. Like, and I was like, something's happening.
Oh, the
Something's good. That
foreshadowing.
poor ref is going to die. That poor ref is going to pass away. Like,
Also-
something's going to happen.
Did really appreciate Booker and Vic and how they bounced off each other the
They,
whole
they
night.
really do a good job.
I don't.
I'm very impressed.
I don't miss Wade. I don't miss him at all.
Oh, I'm so happy that you've moved on.
I have moved on and I'm quite happy. And Booker is fabulous. And Booker and Vic are great.
Yeah, no, they're great.
No,
but
but
so
anywho.
how she wins is something happens and Alba goes off to the side. That wasn't on purpose, I promise.
No, it wasn't. It was funny.
Goes off to the side and Isla just touches the ref's ankle.
like, it's not like a big show.
It's not, it doesn't even look intentional.
No.
And then all of a sudden, the ref goes to the corner of the ring and black goo just starts coming out of his mouth.
It was so cool.
And he just starts slowly
Like,
seizing and like convulsing. And Alba like hits her finisher on Isla and goes for the count, and the ref's not there, and she has no idea because her back is to
And
him.
she's just waiting. She's like, all right, 3, 4.
And she looks
What the
and he's like,
heck?
what's going on? And she looks and is terrified.
Like, he's like, it's on his chest. It's like down his
It was-
whole chin. Like,
Yes,
oh.
it was insane. So
It's
then, and then
nasty.
by the time another ref comes out,
It
like,
wasn't Sir Tantalot, was it?
no, it wasn't. He doesn't do NXT anymore.
That's right. Sir Tantalot was.
He's moved up to the main roster.
Yeah. Well, good for you, Sir Tantalot.
But I think something happens where Isla does something illegal, right?
Yeah, chicanery.
Yeah, before a new ref comes
Chicanery.
out. And Alba's like knocked out, and Isla wins. But like the ref is still dying in the corner, and like no one is like helping him.
He's like halfway to heaven. Like, his soul is slowly leaving his body. And he's just like, twitching.
And then finally, like afterward, like in the commentaries, like someone needs to come out and help this ref. Like it was, I couldn't help but laugh. I was like, I'm not laughing at your pain, I promise, but
No,
this is
but-
hilarious.
Like, the other ref came in to come and finish the match. He went over to look, sees what's happening. He's like, hi, man, I
He
ain't touching
backs
that.
away.
He's like, I ain't touching that.
And then like some staff come out and like help him eventually, but like I could just imagine like them doing like rock paper scissors in the back, trying to be
I ain't touching that
No.
shit.
But I just thought it was such a subtle, like she didn't wind up and cast a spell
No.
on him or anything. It was just a very subtle, like you only saw it on replay.
Yes.
Right?
Because the
'Cause
first
you were
time
like-
I was just like, whoa, what the hell is wrong with that ref?
Yeah, because when you're watching it the first time, you're just like, holy shit, there's black stuff coming out of his
Like,
mouth. Like,
whoa.
what happened? And then you go to the replay and you just see a very subtle touch to his ankle. And then all of a sudden it starts. I know, I cannot wait to see what they do with this.
Scarlett, I love you, but you might have been replaced.
I really think this is what she
This is
probably was doing
exactly-
on the indies.
This is.
And they just didn't know what to do with it when she came through.
And
then now, Isla has come through and just completely embraced this. Because again, this was totally different than what she was doing in UK.
So cool.
And that's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I gave this one a 4.5.
Like,
Like it was so good. I almost gave it a 5.
I wrote
But-
amazing storytelling, 4.5 Regals.
Yeah, it was so good.
But also, I think the thing that's really important about this is that, yes, I'm bringing you back to acting, but it's always a better match when the stakes are high.
Yeah.
When the reason why something is happening is so important because of everything that had happened and the storytelling beforehand. But it was just such a good damn match.
Well,
It was
also,
so
and it
good.
proves that because there wasn't a women's championship match on this card.
No.
And I did not realize it until we were at the end of the show.
But
and I was like,
sometimes
oh.
it doesn't need it.
But also at the same time, it kind of made sense after we found out what happened with Mandy.
Yes.
Like, was that already in the works
Probably.
when this pay-per-view came about?
It's
but
probably
also,
like
who
a
would
try
sh-
guys kind of thing.
Who would she have faced?
Yeah.
Like, again, it's a Roman Reigns situation. Like, she's already beaten every person in the women's division.
Yeah.
Like, who are you going to put her against?
This
like,
is a great out
yeah.
for creative now, at least.
Well, Well, now I guess Roman just has to come out with a fan time page.
Not the good old Catholic boy.
Oh, God. So,
Kara's face.
sorry, I apologize for my smoker's cough, but you just made me wheeze. This is the time when I wish that we had video content.
Oh my
'cause
gosh, her face is like.
she's like, wait, but can that happen?
You don't even like Roman like that.
Oh, man, but I mean, she's got eyes, though.
She got eyes though.
Anyway, our next match.
Twerk.
Oh, gosh.
Twerk,
yes.
twerk.
So we have our NXT Tag Team Championship match with the New Day versus Pretty Deadly, which I looked up their names.
Oh, please, I'm so glad you did because
It's Elton Prince and Kit Wilson. The most
not the snort. No.
the most posh British names I've ever heard in my
But
life.
they're not even British.
Yes, they are.
I thought that they were Swedish.
No, they're British.
I missed that. I really thought they were Swedish. I thought
No.
that was the whole joke was that he was like the Swedish like blonde kid. And,
No.
Oh, I missed that. Cool beans.
No.
I missed that one.
So Pretty Deadly was also in UK who came over because UK has now dissolved,
Yeah.
and so they have released most of them, unfortunately, but they have taken some and now assimilated them into the regular NXT roster. And Pretty Deadly is one of those tag teams, and they became tag team champs like just kind of out of nowhere. And I don't know if people really accepted it because
It was a big shock.
yeah, because they had a lot of homegrown teams, and I think
That's-
I
yeah.
think what that was it was kind of an olive branch to UK, right? Because they did Worlds Collide, and they won it at Worlds Collide.
Yeah.
And I think that it was their way of being like, hey, we all are equal here.
Like-
so you can be NXT champs now. Here you go.
And, like,
You
don't
know,
hate us.
But they
Also
did
move to America and forget everything else.
right. But they hadn't been introduced.
Not at
right?
all.
Because I mean, there's a reason why UK got disbanded, no, not disbanded, but you know what I mean, like
It dissolved.
Dissolved. That's
Yeah.
what I meant. There's a reason why they got rid of it because it did not pull any viewership. It was only on Peacock or what was the network at the time. Like that's how far back this goes.
Yeah.
When it was the WWE network, it was only on there, and it was pre-recorded, and the pandemic hit very, very hard for England, right? And they had very strict restrictions
Yeah, extremely.
to the point where they did not record anything for 6 months solid, and nobody cared.
Yeah.
Like nobody knew, nobody asked about it. Like it was kind of bad. So I think
It
that
was
was
a
kind
little
of the beginning of
unfortunate.
the end,
Yeah.
really. And then when they got back, like UK didn't allow crowds, so it was just really, it was weird. They were performing in an empty space, like a studio space, essentially, like what you would find on like a news show or something, you know, for the longest time.
No.
So I think that was their way of like being like, okay, so we have UK representation as a part of our belts, right? Which that's fine if you knew who they were.
I
but
mean, they are very funny. They give me Castle Dalton vibes.
Dalton Castle.
Dalton Castle.
Yeah.
Words are hard.
It's okay.
Dalton Castle vibes, Castle Dalton.
But like they're funny, right? But like I don't think they ever really connected with the NXT crowd.
No.
And so when New Day shows up the week before, being like, we're going to challenge for your titles, like, the Performance Center goes ape shit.
Because-
like, they are so excited for
Duh.
this match. The New Day come out, their pop is 10 times louder than the NXT champs pop.
Yeah.
Right? So you kind of already know where this is going.
Yeah.
Right? I was still shocked, but so I mean,
Kind of wonder, though.
what?
It makes me only a little nervous. I'm very grateful. I love you. You know how much I love this man.
Yes.
I love both of these men with all of my heart.
Kofi and Xavier, you mean?
Kofi and Xavier, yes.
Yes.
It makes me nervous as to where the belts will go because the last time this happened, you know.
I don't think it's going to be different.
I know.
And I'll tell you why.
But my trauma heart.
I know what they've done because I wrote this down. Like, so basically, we're going to jump to the end. The New Day win.
Yay!
And they are now NXT champs.
Yes.
Which now they are Triple Crown Tag Team champions. They
well
have
done,
won
boys.
every single tag team in WWE possible.
And
Kofi.
Yes.
Now.
Yes.
Okay, what was his?
He has won 8 titles, all ranging all titles. Who he just beat the other person who had 7 titles total in their reign of working with WWE, who was Booker T. He beat Booker T.
That's right. 'Cause
For 8 title holding, I guess, reigns. Yes,
Yeah.
there we go. So all varied, all different titles.
Yeah.
So yeah, good for you, Kofi.
Yeah.
Proud of you, boo boo.
And so I'm so glad because they were starting to get stale on Raw and SmackDown. They were kind of just moving them around
But
just
what
to
did they
see.
say here?
But that's the thing. The next week on it, the following Tuesday,
Oh, I don't know this.
they were on NXT. Shut the fuck and they have now accepted a challenge from an NXT tag team.
But if they're here, that'll be the best.
Yes. So we have Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods a part of the NXT roster now. Because they are actively having challengers for the title.
It's gonna be the best for them.
Oh my,
That's so good.
So my first thought was, oh my God, when Big E comes back,
no.
is he gonna come back on NXT? Is this gonna be a reunion on my brain is just going now, and I'm like, is he gonna win the North American title now? Is this gonna be a thing? Are they gonna become a faction?
But if he's the North American champion, that'd be sick as hell.
I know. So I'm very excited about it.
But what about that? Does that mean Braun Breaker and then him could have?
Yep, Braun Breaker and Big E.
Ooh.
Yeah, that'd be pretty fun.
Big meaty man slapping meats.
Definition of
big meaty man slapping meats.
That's what I want.
I don't want your 5-star matches. Your 30-minute classics. Oh my God.
Me.
Not me.
So I'm very glad. This match was extremely fun.
There were so many great segments in it. I
Yeah.
did write down one segment, the 4-way cheat spot that they.
Okay, so Pretty Deadly does the typical heel champ move where one of them goes to and get the titles.
Yeah, they grab the titles.
They're they do the whole spot of I'm done with this and I'm gonna go home.
Screw you guys, I'm going home.
And going home meaning I'm gonna cheat and I'm just gonna hit you with this title.
Yeah, of course.
So they go. One of them goes to hit Xavier with the title, and misses. And then Xavier he throws it at Xavier, and then he falls down.
And
then
he pulls an
Xavier-
Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah, pulls it Eddie, and falls to the ground he hit him. Right, and then Xavier, the ref has not turned around yet.
Yeah.
So Xavier throws it to the other Pretty Deadly guy and does the Eddie and falls down to the ground. And then the ref still hasn't turned around yet. So the other Pretty Deadly guy throws it to Kofi and falls and does the Eddie on the ground. And then for some reason the ref still hasn't turned around. And then Kofi just throws it on the ground and then does the Eddie spot on the floor. So all 4 of them are laying with the title in the middle. So the ref turns around, has no idea who did it, and it's just
But the best
fuck
reaction,
y'all, and just throws it away.
his reaction was, "No, I ain't playing with this. Get up.
Yeah.
Both of y'all are playing. Get up.
Yeah.
None of you are hurt. Get your asses up. Let's go."
Because it was so ridiculous.
It was so clearly obvious.
But it was so
funny.
it was such a clear and well done spot.
It was so good.
That it was great.
Oh.
So I gave this one also a 4.5. It was really fun.
I gave it 5.
Did you? I thought you would.
Did.
I thought you
gave
would.
It 5. It's just okay. This is what I had written because I think that it's just important. Oh, sorry.
You are getting
I'm
very
getting
excited.
very excited.
Yeah.
The thing that I think is so important with a match like this is that the level of athleticism has to match the comedy.
True.
Like, that's what makes it so good.
Yeah.
Is that, watching this match, I mean, the cheating spot. There was other spots where I wrote on my notes, Xavier's jump through the rope to butt land on Blondie, then to go through and kick Brunette Boy was amazing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm obviously just watching this and writing notes that are funny as well, just because, like, the level of comedy and athleticism is just so good. It's just as important when the athleticism and the comedy match and make I'm not going to say a beautiful baby, but you know what I mean? Like, it's just wonderful when you sit there and you watch something and it's funny. The match is funny, but it's not just, this is funny because they have to have a filler.
Yeah, and I think that's what the New Day was missing.
Yes.
On Raw and SmackDown, because they basically have been in this like never-ending cycle of just going against the Usos.
Yes.
And yes, they put on great matches.
They do,
right?
But they were being used.
Yes.
They were the Claudio.
Yeah.
They were the Claudio.
You're like, put New Day in there, like
they'll
be good.
trust them. We got them.
And at the same,
they work for us. They'll be fine.
But I think in doing that, they lost their comedic timing. And listening to their podcast, if you have not listened to the New Day podcast, it is so great and so hilarious. I don't know what's going on with it right now because they basically have just been like playing reruns for the past year. So I don't know what has happened with their podcast.
I'm
but
sure there's a lot going on.
They still keep putting stuff out, but it's not new content. But I mean, even their reruns are really great. And they talk about like the fact that, and this was back like almost a year ago when they were saying this, how they had forgotten the names of their tag team moves because they don't get to do them anymore. Right? So they have like a whole a whole list of like different moves that Kofi and Woods would do and Woods and E would do, and they had names for them and everything like that, and they could not remember what they were because it had been that long since they did them.
I hate that.
And I hope that coming to NXT where it is, thankfully, it is getting back to the way that it was, where you can come and you can experiment and you can try things out and kind of get back to like where you were, because that's what a lot of superstars have done who have moved up to Raw and SmackDown and then come back to NXT. So Finn did it, right? He came back and had probably one of the best secondary runs in NXT that we've ever seen.
Oh my gosh.
And a lot of people have done it. I mean, Mandy did it, right? I mean, and she did get better and did develop an actual character. I hated the character.
Apollo Crews.
Apollo, exactly.
Apollo Crews.
Main event of this pay-per-view, right?
Which we'll get to.
So I think, I think this is going to be really, really good for the tag team division, but it's also going to be really good for the New Day.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Because I just feel it. Like, I think they feel it.
Yes.
Because watching them on NXT the week after the pay-per-view, it's hard to explain. There's just like an excitement that you feel from them that they actually get to like do new things and like be in like a feud with someone they've never feuded with before, and not just like the Usos for the 15,000th time.
Just because they're the other tag teams that
Exactly.
exist.
Exactly. So I think it's gonna be really good.
That's
and
fantastic.
I'm really excited.
Yay!
I know. So I gave it a 4.5. You gave it a 5.
I did. I gave it a 5. I don't know like how many other 5s I've given, but yeah, this is.
They're very few and far between.
This is
which
one of my
what
favorites.
5 should be.
That is. Yes.
Yeah. So then we have our semi-main, which in my opinion should have been the main. But
Yeah,
that's
you
a
had
different
strong
story.
opinions about that.
I did. Is the men's Iron Survivor match. So you have J.D. McDonough, Axiom, Carmelo Hayes, Grayson Waller, and Joe Gacy. And all I have to say is just Axiom.
Axiom.
Just
had no idea who this guy was.
all capital letters, just
Axiom.
So this guy, Kara, is insane. So
Lucha.
think of Lucha Libre, right? You have Lucha Libre style mixed with a cruiserweight, right? So, yeah. Because I don't really know who this guy really is. because he's wearing a mask,
Yeah.
right? And
Which is the point.
His whole thing is also math, maybe.
Yeah, it's like
Because during his
he's
entrance,
like the Matrix kind of stuff. Like he's in
Uh-huh.
like the computer realm of like numbers and maths
yeah,
and
and
whatever.
you have equations that pop up on the screen behind him, but they don't really have anything to do with his character.
Yeah,
But
but
I think it'd be interesting to find out if that does come into play at some point.
I mean, it did a little bit when he was coming down the ramp, though, because then all of a sudden, like the screen itself started like as if he was moving in like faster than the speed of light. Like
Yeah.
there was like this other trail behind him, like he was just like
Like he was in the
"Whoa."
Matrix,
Yeah.
essentially.
It was really cool.
So I said this to Gina off air, but listeners, if you have never seen Axiom's matches with Nathan Frazier,
No, I need to. I need to sit down and watch that this weekend.
to watch it.
Oh my gosh.
They have a best 2 out of 3 series.
That's what you said.
And
Yes.
that is the closest we have gotten to indie wrestling since the changeover from
Ooh.
2.0.
Ooh,
Like it
Bold
is
statement.
so good.
bold statement.
It's so good.
Oof. Okay. I'm
There,
taking note
those
of that.
those matches were kind of what brought me back to watching weekly. They were just stunning.
Wow. Stunning.
Um,
Stunning.
so this match was stunning, honestly, because I just again this concept. I mean, we gushed about it in the women's match, but like. It's so fun, but the men really used the penalty box to their
Yes.
advantage.
Oh, I wrote that down. The penalty box
my
spots.
God.
Oh my
so
gosh.
JD and Axiom, I think they really set up a great future feud with them.
Man.
Dude, they were murdering each other outside of the ring. Like
Oh
I
my
think there were
gosh.
moments where like people were beating each other up almost for the entirety of the 90 seconds. Like they didn't even make it to the penalty box.
No,
Like-
they just I feel like what happened for most of these this match was that people were hit so hard, their souls started to leave their body, and then the body grabbed the tail of the soul and was like, "You get back in there."
Yeah.
And then they continued the matches because there was another spot where McDonough, I wrote McDonough super kick died. He is DED super kick dead. He got super kicked, and when they all four were together, and they
Yes.
just I was
Yes.
like, he died. He dead. DED super kick dead.
That's what's gonna read on his tombstone.
He was super kick dead.
Like cause of death.
Super kicked too hard.
I mean, it was like to the point where I'm like, do y'all really have beef? Like, do you really?
They
hate
do
each
now.
other?
They sure do now.
Like, it was insane, and
Stakes were high.
there
again.
were a lot of instances where people would come in and immediately get a one fall.
Oh man, it was
Yeah.
so intense.
So there was one with Grayson Waller.
you son of a bitch.
I love this man.
Oh,
You know I love a
so
chicken shit
bastard.
heel.
Red bastard.
I love them so much. So this man, his rate, I guess, rise.
Can't help you with this one.
Rise to fame. Yes. Okay. Sorry. Apologies.
It was just that I didn't know the rest of the sentence, so I couldn't help you.
Again, this is when I wish we had video content because I think everyone just saw my brain kind of freeze for a second.
Your gears
and
got
reboot.
stuck.
My brain had to be turned off and held the power button for 30 seconds and then turn back on. I'm just going to blame it on pregnancy
It's
brain.
pregnancy brain. You're
It's
fine.
fine.
You're fine.
So, I don't even know what I was talking about.
Your rise to
Oh,
fame.
rise to fame. It was his rise to fame was when Johnny Gargano was on his way out of the company.
Like literally leaving.
So he was last night on NXT, and people knew that his contract was expiring and he was going to leave. This bitch comes out during this man's goodbye promo and super kicks him to oblivion.
That's the last time we saw
That's the
Johnny
last
Gargano.
time we saw
before
Johnny
he came
Gargano.
back.
And then until he showed back up on Raw, obviously.
What an asshole!
But at the time, It was devastating.
You were
Right?
so mad. You were so upset.
But when I calmed down,
when I came to my senses,
I realized how brilliant it was.
and
Right?
that's, yeah, you know
Because
what?
ever since then, the crowd hates this man. Because Johnny Gargano is a national treasure.
He is a
to
joy and a
NXT,
delight
right?
and a wonderful human and now a great father and yeah.
And this man comes in and super kicks him to heaven.
face.
And again, that's the last time we saw Johnny, and that was the last time we ever thought we would see him on WWE content.
Oh my god.
So ever since then, he has just grown and just built off of that momentum and kind of become what I think Logan Paul wants to be, but can't. But he's doing it
because he's
not
not
as a-
Australian.
not as a real life person, right? This is just his character, right? I mean, as far as I know, he might be this way in real
what's
life.
that
I have
quote?
no idea.
What's that quote? Have you ever tried acting, old sport?
Exactly. It's just like that.
Got him.
So he comes in, and everyone just booing him immediately, obviously, because that's what they do now. And he gets 2 falls
At the same
immediately.
time.
Immediately.
So he grabs them and just totally just bashes
So
their
he
face into
has,
the. What's the move?
He has this move.
Yeah.
I don't know the technical term of it, but it is so cool.
It's
so
sick.
he uses his momentum from running down the ramp.
Jumping.
And he jumps. No, he jumps like
Yeah.
full onto the apron.
Yeah.
Then does a flip over the top rope into a stunner.
Kara's face.
It's insane. So
This is when I wish I could. You know what? I might. The next time you have a reaction, I'm going to take a picture and we're going to post.
we're gonna
it
post
onto
it
the Instagram.
Yeah. So he does this, but to 2 people at the same time, and then covers both of them one at a time. So he gets the first one. You're like, okay, that makes sense,
Like,
right?
yeah.
Then he goes to the other guy. I'm like, oh, he's definitely gonna kick out. Like, this is so dumb. No.
And it's like,
no, he
oh.
gets the second fall on that guy. So he is up 2 balls and is immediately in the lead.
First 5 seconds of his entrance.
Again, brilliant booking, right?
Amazing.
Everybody hates his guts, right? And now he is winning immediately. Like, because everybody has either 0 or 1 at this point. So now he is not just tied, he's winning. And now has to be chased the rest of the time. And he's not the last person to come in.
No, he is not.
Right? So, I don't know. It's just little things like that. I'm like, they matter, right? Like, because it builds on the story that you're trying to tell throughout the entire match. Because he then spends the rest of the match trying to chase Carmelo's falls.
Yes.
Right? Because
yes.
Carmelo gets 2, and then Grayson gets 3, and then Carmelo gets 3. And then finally, Grayson gets the 4th one, and it's literally 10 seconds
before the
time is up. And what he doesn't try to get another fall or try to do offense. This motherfucker gets out of the ring and runs around the ring. Yes. And then as he's doing it, is literally making everybody else unavailable for a fall. Like, literally pushing people out of the way. If someone's on the ground, he pulls them onto the floor. Like, like, it is
Instagram photos coming your way, fam.
so good that he just, and then the time runs out and he wins. Not because there's like a dramatic fall at the last second.
Nope.
No, it literally, because that's how the women's match was. It was like at the very last minute, Roxanne gets the last one, and there's no time left for anybody to get another fall. No, he legit does the most chicken shit thing he could possibly do, and gets out of the ring and runs, and then push it like a bully, just pushes everybody out of the way so that nobody else can get a fall.
That is so brilliant.
It's right.
This is what
Oh
I wrote.
my God.
I wrote down, Waller, you fuckface, damn it, but it was such good writing, motherfucking bullshit.
As you probably have caught on, listeners, Gina does voice text when she's doing notes.
Motherfucking bullshit. I prefer to call it a stream of consciousness.
Yeah, that's how she takes notes. I'm the one that literally does bullet points and like
Nope.
does an outline. She just does a stream of consciousness for her
Motherfucker
notes.
bullshit.
Oh my god, it's so funny.
Piece of cheating shit.
Dude, it was just spot on.
It
was
was-
literally like the best ending ever because of
You
course
know
he would
what?
do that, right? Like of course that's what he would go to. Like that would be his way of winning.
You know what? I raise your Logan Paul statement, and I raise it with a Miz.
That's better.
That's better.
Yeah,
That's exactly what it is.
that's true.
He is
Yeah, I guess
the
I
new Miz.
Yeah, I guess I said Logan Paul because
No, no,
they're
no,
around
no.
the same age,
But
and they.
that's exactly who he is.
Yeah.
He's a young Miz.
I love it.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I gave this match a 5.
Did you really?
I loved it. I absolutely just loved both of these matches, but I felt I was gonna do 4.5, but that ending just put it over the top. Listeners, if there's one match,
Yeah,
that-
go watch that
go
one.
watch that one.
So-
I mean, New Day match was also good too, but like,
Yes.
ooh, that Iron Survivor match, so good.
I gave it a 4.8, but then I
Oh
wrote
my
it.
God.
Hang on. I wrote, but for Shelby 4.5.
Thank you. Thank you. Listeners, I can't explain why I can't do that. I just can't.
And now I do it just on purpose.
Yeah, she does. She has to get at
Oh.
least one in every show.
I didn't last time. I was good last time. Go back and listen.
Okay.
Yeah. Do it.
I don't remember anything. So after we do the show, I'm like, did we do a show? Like, I don't know.
I don't remember.
I don't remember. That's why I listened back because I'm like, I don't
Oh.
remember anything that I just said because I hope it wasn't bad, which it probably is.
No. Boo.
Oh my God.
Boo hiss.
So now we go to our final match of the night. It's for the NXT title. It's Braun Breaker versus Apollo Crews.
Okay. Really quickly before we get into this,
Yes.
because you and I have differing opinions on this.
We do, yes.
But I want to get into the promos for before.
Okay.
This promo packet that was happening before was one of the most interesting promo packets I've seen since the rebirth of NXT 2.0. So essentially it starts where Braun Breaker is kind of like the blue collar guy. That's kind of what his whole gimmick was. He's just kind of chill. And then Apollo Crews has come back, and Apollo Crews a couple of weeks ago was like, hey, I see you, champ. You know what? I predict, because that's his thing. He predicts things in the future. He's kind of like not a soothsayer, but like, I don't know. He just has these premonitions.
That's what it is. It's not like it's a
Yeah.
gimmick. It's not like he's like, oh, I am a psychic or anything like
No,
that.
it's
his catchphrase essentially is like, I have a prediction, like that
yeah,
type of thing.
or
Yeah.
premonition, whatever it is.
Yeah, sure.
And so he said, champ, I'll see you in a couple of weeks. You and I are going to fight for that championship. And so as time has gone on, like the promos start, it's really interesting because the promos are really chill. So it's like Braun and him are going to a boat and he's fishing and like they're fishing together and talking. And, you know, at first, like you're sitting there going, what in the hell
In
is
the moment,
happening?
it's weird.
But
Like, it doesn't make sense
like
at all.
at first, and then the more I like listened, the character development's fantastic because the thing that's so fascinating about these is that it's not like, oh well, you know what, I'ma whoop your ass and I'ma beat you into a pulp, and then it's like, hey, you know what, like, may the best man win. It's almost kind of like petty. It's almost like quiet petty. It's interesting to see men talk like this. And the thing that's so fascinating is like during the whole promo is like they go on different excursions. Like they meet at a diner and they're sitting in the diner and like Braun Breaker comes in and meets him, Apollo, and they're talking and he's like, Apollo's saying, well, you know, like, Braun, you just seem real tired. Like, you're really tired of carrying this burden. You know, maybe you should just, like, let it go.
Just give
But
me the title now.
yeah, like, why not, man? Like, but he's talking like this. It's not like he's, like, going like, you know what, man, you're just tired. You suck. Like, just give me that title now. It's not braggart. It's not brazen. It's just, I see you, man. Like, just let me have it. Like, you know, it's fine. And he's like, no, man, it's okay. I see you. But he never denies it. He never denies he's tired. So it's fascinating to watch and listen because I was like, this is so interesting. Like, character development is happening. It's not what is normal for character development, but it's happening. So I was really fascinated by it because then there's like another part when they're on the boat and they're fishing. And Apollo is just like, but like, like, I think we'll just leave it at may the best man win. And Breaker's like, oh, okay. So I'll see you there and, I'll win. But they're like talking smack, but it's not like, oh, yes, I'll see you there. It's a different kind of level, but I believed it. Like they were gonna mess with each other, but it was still in a respected, professional way. And I don't know why it got me so bad because from here on out, and we both agree on this, the tone changes.
It does.
And it does because it's been so lax beforehand. But
I think I agree with you on the build and everything to it. I do think that it was really well done. Because of the build, I thought it was strange that Braun won.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed.
With the build up that you had of this, you're like, oh, like they're like prepping him to lose. Because he's getting in his head.
Which is what we're trained to think.
Right, and I understand the swerve of it all.
Yeah.
Right, and I can appreciate it. I think for me, when you have all of these matches that were at 4,
yes.
4.5, 5,
where the tempo was just going and going and
this
going.
one was more methodical. Like they matched each other's moves. Like commentary was very big on saying that they're basically the same person. Like it's like looking in a mirror, which I'm like, I don't think we should go that far. One of them is definitely darker than the other. I don't think we should go that far. But I understand where they were coming from. Like
yes.
they're two bigger men and they have similar move sets, but they also do some high flying stuff. Like they're
yes.
very similar to one another. And so I was really interested that they took the route of having Braun retain, because I'm like, okay, the build up to this was so good, and now what does Apollo do?
I think the other thing is that the finisher itself also, like, it could have been really great if it was almost like he barely got it.
Yeah.
Like if he had barely made it to that 3 count and like Apollo is just about to kick out, but it's
very
too late.
definitive though.
Yes, and that's the thing that I was confused about.
Like what was the move that the finisher was?
I don't know what it's called.
Anyway, I was kind of mad at it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I think it was really just something as simple as like a power bomb.
It was
or something. Like
something, if there had been enough beforehand where it was just 1 and 2 and 3 moves after, and then just a power
and then
bomb.
A power bomb, it would have made more sense.
Fine, but there were only 2 moves before that.
Yeah, and it wasn't a spear.
Nope.
Right?
He got the spear in early.
He did, which was really weird.
Really weird.
Because Braun has he does spears very well.
Yes.
Like,
give him a 10 out of 10 on that one.
Right. And so he got that out really early,
We were
which
like,
I thought was
whoa.
really weird. And then he wins with like something as simple as like a pop-up power bomb.
Yeah.
During a match that I don't feel like that made much sense, because they weren't like going a mile a minute. Like it was a very methodical match.
And
so I feel like the finisher should have been something that was a little bit more cerebral and
Yeah.
kind of like messed with you a little bit, like either a submission or I don't know, just something that wasn't just like a show of strength
Yes.
move. It just didn't make much sense to me, and I think that's why it just didn't really hit with me.
I think that this is going in the right direction for promos, but
Yeah, for sure.
Hunter, I know you listen. Don't do it for every match going forward, because it's really fun when it's sprinkled in.
Yeah.
Don't let your writers just write all of it for everybody. Like it's really
Yeah.
specific, and it worked for this one really well. But I'm having a little bit of a flashback to Kyle O'Reilly and Sir
Von
Wagner moments when they're out in the campfire having a beer. Please, not that.
Yeah.
This.
I agree.
Not that. This.
Yeah, and I think, with the ending of this, having Grayson Waller come out at the end and attack Braun and hold the title up. And just basically like make the entire thing about him, which I just thought was great.
Yeah.
Apparently that they're going to be set up for New Year's Evil.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be very interesting where they go, because I think Braun is almost getting to the point that Mandy was for me, where I'm like, okay, we need to go in a different direction now. I mean,
And
he's great. I honestly think that he fits better on Raw or SmackDown. I think it's kind of
He's ready.
He is. And I
ready.
think NXT has always been this,
Yes.
right? NXT has always been the place where people like develop who they are. And the premise was, once they do that, then they're ready to go
Yeah.
up to the quote unquote main shows, right? But then it became its own entity, and it became so popular that it kind of stopped being that, and people didn't want to go, right? So you had the Adam Coles and the Tommaso Ciampas and the Johnny Garganos who refused to be called up because they didn't want to be called up.
Yeah.
Because NXT was the indie darling child.
Yeah.
And they knew, because this is how it was, you would go to the main roster and then you would get completely erased. And you wouldn't be what you had worked on for 2 years,
If not more.
right? And you weren't yourself anymore. So I think now, with Vince out of the way, I think it can be that now. So I think Braun can move on, and he still can be Braun Breaker, but I think he needs to develop maybe a little bit more, because right now I don't really know who he is still.
I'm getting blue collar vibe, obviously, but he seems.
It's not a strong vibe, though.
It's not, and
it's like a sprinkle.
It's like it's starting. It's like when, it honestly, he reminds me a lot of Kyle O'Reilly when he was
Oh, sure.
like
you're
it's
almost
it's
there.
so close. Like
Yeah.
I see it, dude. Like I see it.
But I think going up to Raw or SmackDown will do that,
Yeah.
because I think he'll be in a new pool, because he's beaten everybody.
Yeah.
Like he'll be in a new pool. He can be in the IC title, section, or whatever, and just be with like new people. And I think that can probably bring out some more character. I just don't see where he fits anymore.
I think it's time.
Yeah.
I think it's time.
So I wouldn't be surprised if he drops the title to Grayson. I really wouldn't. Not because I want it to happen.
I mean, if it did happen.
I love me some Australians, but
Yeah, you do.
yeah, I just think that it would be really interesting
Yeah.
to do that, because I'm just ready for a change. I was ready for a change on the women's side, and I'm starting to want a change on the men's side.
Yeah.
Because I think we have all been like kind of jaded when it comes to long title reigns because of Roman.
Absolutely.
Because you're just like, oh my God, okay, can we get
Like,
it.
please.
He's great. Like, can we just move on now?
Like I'm ready.
Like, I don't want it
give
to
it
get
to Sammy at this point.
Oh my God.
Give
If
it to
only.
Sammy.
But I don't want it to get to that point.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to, every time I see him on the card, I don't want to just assume that he's going to win, and I'm not going to pay
We've been like that for
attention.
months though.
I know.
And that's not fun.
It's not. So, and that's why I felt like the Iron Survivor match should have been switched with this match. Because to me, having Waller win, and then you have Braun come out and do a face-off there,
Yeah.
I think would have hit a lot better
Yeah.
than Grayson coming out and beating up on him after his match.
Like it shows that he's weak.
Yeah, it does.
It's kind of weird.
It
He
shows-
just won the title and he's going to get beat the shit out of by sideswipe Grayson Waller.
yeah.
Ooh,
So it's
I
like,
like that. I'm going to call him that. Sideswipe Grayson Waller.
Grayson, no swiping.
Grayson. Oh, man.
But I mean, overall, I gave this whole show
Yeah.
a 4.5.
Oh, clear four
Like,
and a half.
it was
like
not
could
perfect.
Be, yeah.
It was not perfect, but it was very, very close.
Like, you know
So
when it's
good.
like you get notes that are just nitpicky stuff?
yeah, that's what this was.
That's exactly what this was.
Like I didn't have to be as hard on the main as I was, but I was. But it was because all the other ones were so good, you know. So who is your ignorant slut? Gina Bradford.
My ignorant slut is Kiana.
Me too.
Look, it's just nitpicky because look, I don't watch regularly for
See,
weekly, and I just look, I don't feel a character for her at all.
I do, and I didn't know who she was.
Okay, that makes me feel better. So there's no character for her.
No.
I call her gymnastics girl, and she was the weakest link for me in this whole match. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't give two shits about her. Like, yeah, she was there, and we don't have that time and that energy to just be there.
Well, she was the only one out of both matches that didn't have a fall.
And that's the thing.
Every single one of the men had at least one. Like Joe Gacy got one fall.
He did really good, actually.
I liked him.
He did really
We
well.
actually didn't talk about Joe Gacy because
But
we had so much other stuff
there was
going on.
so much going on.
But I did enjoy him
He
for
did
the first time
really
ever.
well. Yeah, you didn't. He did have a really crappy gimmick at the beginning.
It was very cringy.
It was so bad.
It was on the verge of go home heat. Like I didn't like him at all.
It was rough.
Anyway,
And your ignorant slut is the same.
same. Yes. I'm sorry, girl. I
You
did-
gotta work on some stuff, girl.
I mean, I didn't even look up your last name before we started recording. Like, I totally forgot.
Yeah.
Because I forgot you were in the match.
Kiana James.
You know, I'm so sorry.
Like everyone in the men's match, and y'all know how we feel about women's matches and men matches, but everyone there in the men's match was to par,
and they made sense as to
and
why
they
were
made
there.
sense and she did not. She
Yeah.
did not at all. She did not at all.
Yeah. Well, who is your EST?
So I have a runner up for EST first, and I'm gonna do a runner up first.
Okay.
My runner up first for EST is the New Day Pretty Deadly 4-way cheating spot because it was so funny.
I'm telling you.
It was so funny.
It was great. It was probably one of the
was
best things on
so
the entire show.
good.
So good. No, that's well
it was
deserved.
Classic Eddie, classic. Just
I love that people still do that spot.
but it works for a reason.
It does.
When it's done right.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
To me, it's better than the frog splash. It's better than the Three Amigos. Like it is.
that and his. Well, that's kind of more Ric
Well,
Flair,
he
I
did
guess, but
the shoulder
shoulders,
shake.
Yes.
Yeah, but yeah, so great.
Yeah.
Well, who is your EST?
Grayson Waller. Son of a bitch. Sucks.
Are you serious?
I'm just. Oh my god. So his character is unbelievably evil, and he's just chaos, and I love it.
he is a chaotic evil
I can't-
character.
I
and
can't fault him for
we-
such good writing and for good work, and he did so good. And son of a bitch, he's the worst.
we all need that chaotic evil one
He's-
in our lives.
he's
We
like-
just do.
He's okay. So he's like a fun MJF. MJF is like
yeah.
you know what I mean. He's like a Puck from Midsummer Night's Dream.
Yeah, he'll
he's
like-
I'm a fuck around,
He'll come in and
messing
mess
around.
everything up, and then go hee hee hee, and then just leave.
and then okay, bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he does.
I am so happy you said that.
I thought about it for so long, and I told Robert, I said, she's going to be so pleased with herself.
I am so happy. I wish everyone could see my face right now.
I just...
Whenever Gina actually truly enjoys a heel that I love, it just makes me so happy because I am the heel to her face.
It's so
and
true.
it makes me so happy.
He's done the work. I'm going to give
He
him the
has,
credit.
yes.
He's done the work, and he's doing great wrestling. I
Yeah.
can't be mad. I cannot fault him for good writing and good wrestling.
I love it so much.
That's what we're here for. So I can't be mad at it.
Congratulations, Grayson.
Congratulations, you son of a fucking bitch.
You've won 2 things now.
You jug off, you bitch.
Your #1 contender and your EST. This is such a great day for you.
Well, Shelby Patterson, who's your EST?
I also have a runner-up.
Oh, who's your runner-up?
I always have a runner-up that I can never choose. Axiom.
Dude, he was so good.
Just so good. Just so good. Like, if he's
Oh
going to
my
be on a card
gosh.
anywhere, like, I'm going to be happy.
Oh my gosh,
Um,
I'm so mad that I didn't know him until this point. Like,
Yeah,
of
but now
watching
you
this.
do know.
and I'm so excited. I'm gonna watch everything he's ever done.
Yes.
Ever. I'm obsessed already.
I mean, my EST is just the New Day being on NXT.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so happy, and I really hope that this still is the direction that they're going in, and
I
this
really
isn't
hope
just
so,
a one-off.
too.
But even if it is, and they drop the titles to whoever and then go back, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like I think again, this is what they need, and this is what NXT needs
Yeah.
for their tag division, and I'm really, really excited to see like where their tag division goes now because
This is an extra little oomph.
well, and with Xavier, he was in NXT from its conception. He was in FCW.
Goodness.
So him and Kofi both, and E. This is where all of them met, was in FCW. And this is where, the start of the New Day happened. And Xavier wrestled the very first match that ever aired on NXT.
Are you serious?
And guess who it was with?
Who?
Big E.
Shut up.
Yes, you can go back and you can watch Baby Woods and Baby E wrestling.
Is that where he met Paige?
Probably.
Sorry.
Wow, you just ruined such a good moment. Wait, are you the heel and I'm the face? Like
I think we just switched. I think it just happened. Grayson Waller is nope. I've been bodied by Grayson Waller.
it's fine. But yeah, I just think that that's such a cool like full circle moment. Like you have
That's so sweet.
yeah, and Xavier has the stash back.
He looks
that he had when he
great.
first debuted in NXT,
Great
which is
with a
such a
stash.
great touch to me.
And he said in the party that it's an homage that he looks just like his dad.
Yes.
So
That's
even
why
better.
that's why he did it, was because
Even
his
better.
dad rocked the stash. Which I'm like, again, I'm such a sucker for the little things. Like
Yes.
I just love it.
Good details, man.
But yeah, it's New Day.
It's New Day,
And they rock.
and they rock.
Well, I mean, that's gonna wrap it up
Yeah.
for us. And I mean, I know that there's stuff going on, but David, our producer David, is usually the one that knows all the things that are happening for Long Walk.
We can plug one thing.
We can.
Do you want to plug in?
Oh.
Do you want to plug in, Miss Kara? No. Well, we're doing a show.
Yes.
And it's Jekyll and Hyde. Free Reign is doing a show. We'll post more information about that later.
Yeah, Free Reign's new show, Jekyll and Hyde, who directed by our own Kara Hayes. Yeah, so we're excited about this one.
Very
It's gonna be
excited.
fun.
It's gonna be a blast.
I know that they just did another Perfect Tens
They did.
episode for
That's
Long Walk
right.
Talks. I do know that. I'm trying to think off the top of my head what the next. I know we have Vengeance Day in February.
Yes.
But I think the next WWE pay-per-view is not until Royal Rumble.
No.
There's something in January, I think.
It's Royal Rumble.
Yeah. There's like not one in December.
No, which is insane.
Yeah, because I
Wait, what?
I had to even ask Dan. I was like, "Are you sure?"
Yeah.
Really?
So they have taken. I think they're taking out some pay-per-views
Oh darn.
from the original rotation.
Oh darn.
I know. I'm sure David is just weeping right now.
yeah.
Just sobbing uncontrollably.
But yeah. So they did not have a pay-per-view in December, which is unless you count. I mean, you count this one obviously in the rotation, but the main roster pay-per-views. Yeah, so I think the next one is Royal Rumble, which unfortunately we can't cover because it's a big four, so it's their turn.
Oh man, you'll have to hear from them.
Oh no.
Darn, I know
I-
you guys are heartbroken.
I cannot wait for this one. This is one of my favorites.
Oh, Rumble is the best time of the year.
Yes.
It really is. I mean, it's right up there with WrestleMania weekend.
Yes, I agree.
in our house, and I cannot wait to watch it with y'all.
We have so much fun because listeners, we go all out. I
Yes.
mean, we draw numbers.
Yes.
And
Oh my gosh,
it
it's so much
is
fun.
so much fun. So, yeah, so we won't be in your feeds for a while.
Yeah.
But you'll hear David Two Dogs Hayes and Chris the Fashion Plate Barnes next, and I'm sure you'll hear from the Long Walk Talk boys as well.
The boys.
So Gina,
Yes.
if people want to follow you on Instagram, where can they do that?
They can do that at Broadway_baby1218. And yeah, I've slowed down my content lately. So no more wedding stuff.
You're taking a break.
I'm taking a break.
Yeah, that's
Oh my
fine.
God, I'm taking a break.
And if you want to follow me personally, you can do that at SlayAllRay on Instagram. And I am only on Twitter for this show.
That's it.
And really, I don't do a good job at it.
No.
So
You do way better than I would have.
Well, I am on here to promote the 3 shows.
Yes.
Or 4 shows. And that's really it.
yeah.
So if you want to follow all of that, which I just sold it so well, if you want to follow us you can follow us on all the social medias at Long Walk Productions. Sorry, I'm really, really struggling. This is such a hard thing for me to remember what our handles are.
You got it.
I write them down all the time
You
and then
do.
I lose them. So Instagram and Twitter, you can just look us up, Long Walk Productions, and I'm sure you'll be able to find it. So that's gonna do it for us.
Yep.
For This Is a Takeover, I'm Shelby Ray Patterson.
And I'm Gina Belmont Bradford.
Sorry.
I tried to do the 3 like you, and I don't like it.
I don't think it
like
works.
it. And I'm Gina Bradford.
There we go. That works a little bit better.
I
It's
tried
too
to
long.
be cool, and it didn't
It's
work.
too long.
And I'm Gina Bradford. Yep.
And if you don't have to be caught up to the main roster, if you're doing fine where you're at, wow, that was the worst way.
That was awful.